Nobody backseat drives or passenger seat drives worse than a person in a wheelchair. My story was, I started off, I didn't jump out and get a lot of overhead. I was working from home doing my previous job, and my office was at home. So I would dispatch from home. I would drive from home. I would do all my paperwork from home. So I just kept my overhead down until it was time to get an office space, because you get a certain amount of vehicles, you need to leave home, to get an office space to where your employees could come, where we can have meetings, where we could, kind of focus more on the business at the business, separate home and work, but keep your overhead down in the beginning, or keep it down, period. You don't want excess. If you're not using it, if you're not needing it, if you don't have the need to have 7 vehicles, then don't have them. Wait till the business grows and you organically add what you need. And that's what we do. Like, we organically add what we need. I don't deal with like financing. So I let the business buy the next vehicle. We make the money and we let the business buy the next vehicle. That way you keep your overhead down, you own an asset, and it works out better for us. And you keep more money in the company, you can pay your people more. Since the beginning, I mean, I don't have a lot of turnover, because I like to pay people what they're worth. We do little perk things, to help, because everybody need help here and there. But we like to pay people what they're worth, and we treat people with respect, because I don't like the turnovers. I've been in big corporations where before you know somebody's name, good, they're out, and the next person's in. So with this type of company, we have a family vibe here. Like, the way that I deal with people, the way that I deal with our contractors, our rehab facilities, each client is with respect and a smile and care, because you never know what people are going through. Some people don't get out of the house. I pick up people and they say, I hadn't been outside in 5 months. They don't talk to people. They just need a kind hand. They just need someone that's nice to them, that gives them advice or encouraging to them. So, we just treat everybody differently, but the same, with respect. We take our time with them, and whoever we're dealing with at that moment, that's who's important. And the next person is next, but you are the only person that we're focused on when we're dealing with you.
Respect.
I think each company should focus on their strengths as well as their weaknesses. So whatever your weak in, and it's vital to your company success, focus on that and make it your strength. And those things that you do well, don't let them fall down. So you want to bring everything up to the same level. Don't worry about your competition, because there is no competition. You are your competition. McDonald's don't worry about Burger King, vice versa. They try to give you the best product, the best deals, the combos, whatever they have going on. You have to focus on what you do best. You put your best foot forward, because no matter what you do, how well you do your business or how bad you do your business, now that can affect you, but no matter what you do, it's not going to affect the next company. So what we do is we try to focus on being the best NEMT company that we can be. And we constantly meet to try and make any adjustments. The people in the field call the people in the office. If we see something that we need to make an adjustment on, if we see traffic out there, if we know that this client is unruly, we try to communicate everything. So I mean, with us, we just look at what we do well and we try to make it better, and what we can improve upon, we definitely work on that.
Derrick, what's your like 5-year vision for Premier Transit? Like you've been running the business for almost 2 years from at this point.
Mhm.
What about the next 5 years? Like, do you have any sort of plan about where you want to be?
Yeah. So we actually, it's funny that you would ask that, and we may be getting ahead, but what I would like to be, where I'd like to do in 5 years, 5 years, I should be huge. But uh, we as a company should be. But we're getting into rentals. We're in the space of rental vans, because in this area, there's no one that rents wheelchair vans for private use. Or if a family wants to go to a wedding or go to the beach or whatever, and they don't own a van, come to us, we'll rent you one. We're also going to get into sales. So um, we rebuilding vans and we're going to sell them. There's only one location in the city that does it. So there's a niche for it. And definitely with the rentals, because we have people that are literally driving to Florida to rent a van. And we plan on providing that. So hopefully that will be starting this month, uh February, no later than March, so there's one place that here that does it. They only have one van, and that van is rented 30 out of 30 days every month. So there's a huge market for that. So we're going to expand and probably have another location here in town that will focus on the rentals and the sales, but also still do NEMT. But with NEMT, I want to get to a certain amount of vehicles, but not get to, I don't think we need more than 8 or 10 vehicles to service this area in the way that we want to service it. And with the amount of revenue that we're looking at, that's going to be more than enough money with what we need. I don't want to talk numbers, but I mean, with what we're doing right now with that amount of vehicles, I'm talking all wheelchair vehicles now. Some of the we're still gonna have a couple of ambulatory vehicles, but if I get eight vehicles, 8 wheelchair vans, maybe 10, I think that'll be good, and we should be able to really service the clientele that we're looking for. I mean, that's waiting in the wings. So
That's nice. Like you have your goal, and
mhm,
once you get to that number of vehicles, like you're set. When do you think you'll get there? You're already at 6 vehicles. You've
mhm.
been operating for 22 months. When do you think you'll get to that 8 to 10 vehicle range?
I realistically, 2024. I think we can do it this year.
Okay.
I think we can do it this year. I'm also authorized dealer. I have my dealer's license, so I can buy vehicles at a different rate. I can go to auctions as well, and so um, I think we're definitely going to add many more vehicles this year. Uh, and yeah, uh, things are going in a great direction. They're going in a great direction. I invest back in the business. I started with 2 vehicles, went down to 1 vehicle, and as we made money, we just reinvest. We buy another vehicle. We buy another vehicle. We just kept adding on, and that's what we're doing now. You know, I'm waiting on one to come from the paint shop now, so that we just bought. So yeah,
You're 7th?
yeah,
Nice. Congrats, man. This is a great story. Like, it's just the fundamental sound business principles. Like, you're providing a good service, you're keeping your vehicles clean, you're buying vehicles when your business can afford them, and you're just getting facility contracts and doing it the right way. And there you go. Like, you have a business that's like the dominant NEMT service in your area.
yeah, absolutely. And that's it. We just focus on the business. Like I said, what we're talking about, just let your growth be organic. Don't go out and start a business and get a loan for 5 or 10 vehicles, and you have so much overhead that you're just drowning in debt. You want your business to grow organically. So as your business grow and you can afford to expand with office space, with more vehicles, with more employees, then do it. But do it at a rate where it makes sense and it don't hurt you. You know, we I want to go back to something we talked about earlier. A lot of people say brokers make you broke. Yeah, that's true in a sense. But at the same time, what I did when I came in using brokers, I did get in with the top three brokers in the area, and one of them was the first year I made almost right at $100,000 with one broker. So the thing about that is you have to use them to build your business to transition to private pay. So I never discourage people from using brokers. A lot of people that's been in the business tell people don't use brokers, stay away from them. They'll make you broker. Well, if you're a new business, you're going to need a broker because the brokers will keep you with trips and runs because you don't know how to go out here and get these trips. And you can't walk into a company and ask for a service agreement or stand in the gap and nobody's never heard of you. So they don't know you to take a chance to deal with you, even though you may be, representing your company well. So use the brokers to make money to push your company forward. Don't shun the brokers thinking, no, I'm just gonna go private pay. That you might find 1% of these companies that start off and they just go private pay. Everybody starts off using brokers. Just don't get stuck there. I still use brokers, but I use them to fill in the gaps. When we don't have trips here or there, I use a broker trip and put their trips in there. Other than that, my private pay is first, my facilities are first, my Medicaid customers are first, and then I use brokers in that order.
Yeah, that's awesome. What percentage of your trips would you say are broker work at this point?
At this point, probably about 25%.
Okay.
Probably about 30, 25, 30%.
Okay.
That's just a good guesstimate,
Yeah. Wow. So you got like 75% of your business, like non-binding service agreements with facilities.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Everything from facilities to private pay, Medicaid. Yeah.
When you say Medicaid, like, how are you getting Medicaid rides that are not with brokers?
I don't know how other states do it. I know each state is different. There's an onboarding process with Medicaid in the state of Alabama where you fill out your application. You have to turn in certain credentials, and once you're on in your area, they add you to a list. So if people have transportation through Medicaid, they'll call and say, "Hey, I need to go to the doctor." They'll give them my number or any other companies in the area number. They'll call you. If we have availability, we'll say, yeah, they will get a trip number from Medicaid and then we'll schedule them. So as they go to the doctor, that same number that they give them for transportation, the doctor's office has it as well. So when the doctor's office bill, then it pays both of us. So kind of private pay, but it's really not. They do take a little longer to pay, and they don't pay as well, but it's consistent. So everything helps.
Can you tell me some like one of the craziest or funnest story that you've had in the 22 months that you've been running Premier Transit?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to think about that one for a second, but there's a lot of them.
I can imagine.
Well, the other day, just for example, I have a client that I normally take to the doctor, and his wife goes with him. Both of them are elderly. The guy, he's a double amputee, and I can see him now. He's so cool because he always had his shades on and his top hat with the feather. Nice guy, nice family. And I just sent one of my lead guys out there to take him on their trip the other day to rehab. And soon as he got them all together and When they pulled out and got around, he just heard the seatbelt go click, click, click. And he looked back and he took the seatbelt off. I'm not wearing this thing. You know what I'm saying? So he pulls over and say, "Hey, you got to wear your seatbelt. We can't transport you without it." I'm not wearing it. I'm just not wearing it. So my John called me and he said, "Hey, I got a situation. Client don't want to wear the seatbelt." I said, "What's that?" He told me his name. I said, "No." I said, "Put me on speakerphone and speak with him." I said, "Hey, Mr. X, uh, you got to wear your seatbelt. You know we don't have these issues. What's going on today? You not having a good day? You having a bad day?" And just hearing my voice, he just was like, "Well, it's uncomfortable. It hurts me." I said, "Hey, well, just do me a favor. Just make sure you wear your seatbelt. Don't get John a hard time, and we're gonna make sure we get you there safely." And he just put the seatbelt on. But some people just like that. Some people just like, okay, well, Derrick's not picking me up today, so I'm gonna act unruly. So, but it was no reason for him to do it. He's never done it. I transported him tens of times, and he's never had a bad attitude or a bad, he might have not had the best days, but he just never gave us a hard time. So it was just the fact that I wasn't there. I told John, I said, "Well, your name wasn't Derrick," so he just gave you a hard time based on that.
This running NEMT businesses, it's so far from a cookie cutter thing. Like, you got to have the sense to deal with all kinds of people and all sorts of like whatever emotional states and situations. Like, it really takes a strong like set of experience of like people management.
Right. And you have to have patience. You have to have patience. Um, the customer's always right to an extent. We try to make sure everybody stays respectable, when we're doing things. So, nobody backseat drives or passenger seat drives worse than a person in a wheelchair. They're gonna tell you, "Oh, you're going too fast," or even though you're not going above the speed limit, they know a better way. "No, go this way, go behind the building, go down the alley, make the second left. I'm telling you, this is the best way." And if you listen to them, you're gonna be 20 minutes late getting to where you go. So we just always tell them, "Look, we're gonna trust Google Maps or Apple Maps, and they're gonna get us there the fastest way. Could be an accident, could be slow traffic. Let's just go this way." Because I've had those instances in the beginning where I tried to appease people and just say, "Okay, well, let me just go this way," and it didn't work out. They will run us into accidents, run us into traffic, or just take longer. So I just like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I always tell my drivers, "You're in control. Put it in GPS, and that's the way you follow."
Wow, nobody backseat drives worse than a person in a wheelchair. That's coming from experience, man.
That's experience. I'm telling you. They want to tell you how to drive, which way to go, everything. And it is fun and it's funny, but just have to stay in control in a nice way. In a nice way. Honestly, I want to say this about Bambi. I like the way you guys do your 7-day free trial, because it gives you an opportunity to see the ins and outs. Is it something that can work for you? Is it user friendly? Is it something that can make my company better? That trial is long enough to know, in my opinion. And I like the confidence that you guys have in that, because a lot of companies won't do that because they don't know if people will like their product. So you have enough confidence in your product that you can allow people to take a thorough look at it by using it. And that helped me make my decision too. It did help me make my decision, and being able to have direct contact with Max. Any questions that I had, you guys would quickly answer it. Any suggestions that I have, you guys are considering it, to make everything, flow and work easier. And man, Bambi is running, and it's definitely helping me go home earlier in the evenings. And you know, like I told Max in the beginning, I only put a certain amount of vehicles on because I just wanted to see, you know. But I do have confidence that, you know, I'm just gonna add all the vehicles on because, and I was telling them also, I wasn't even putting all the trips in because I just wanted to make sure that this was what it is, you know. So I think this week you guys have access, you'll see. So we're gonna be doing 40 or 50 legs a day this week, and going forward, especially when we add new vehicles. So man, just stay true to form. You know, continue to listen to your users, and you know, if you need to pivot and make changes here and there or improvements, you know, listen to us and do it because we're the ones that have to use it. Um, and you know, stay affordable. Stay affordable. I know you're gonna, because I really see this company. I really see Bambi exploding. You guys are gonna do well. I really see Bambi explode. I really do because I've looked with different companies, softwares. Some NEMT companies have their own software that they sell, and I'm telling you, nobody impressed me enough to want to take a chance to, because I didn't want to start with the software, then switch to another one because I didn't like something here or there. You know, I was confident enough to, after the trial, saying, okay, I think I'm going to stay with Bambi. You know, so now I know I'm going to stay with Bambi. Like you guys, you're going to win. You're going to win. You're going to win.